When is it gonna be enough to charge Mark Carney of treason? Oh boy, this video, it's gonna get me cancelled. Nah, hopefully no. So today we're gonna talk about governmental spending, and obviously I'm gonna get called names for sure by some people after hearing what I have to say. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Canada, and it's not really on the level as USAID, or at least I didn't have to go that deep for things to stop making the sense. And honestly, there was just a couple articles in past 2 weeks that I'm gonna use, and it just shows the liberal nonsense that we're facing. Like, we know how hard it is to have a good living and just the affordability of the life in Canada right now, right? It's not since Mark Carney took over, let's be honest about that. It was even before that. It's just 10 years with Liberal government. But since Mark Carney got over, it got worse. But anyway, we're going to talk about few things that Mark Carney and his cabinet approved or extended that are kind of draining the Canadian taxpayers' money. And it honestly doesn't really make sense given to the condition of Canada and the Canadian economy. So let's just jump into the split screen and let's talk about it. 2024. So Global Affairs of Canada sent $19.2 billion to the world, pretty much. So that's money that went outside of Canada that I wouldn't say directly affect or help Canadians to profit. It includes some part of the help to Ukraine, like humanitarian aid, development, and all of that. Here we can see, if I'm correct, let me find it, how the Global Affairs Canada spent its budget in 2024. So international advocacy and diplomacy, $1 billion. Trade and investment, well, I have nothing against it, right? That brings something to Canada as well. Development, peace, and security programming, that's $5.37 billion. That's going to have some support for Ukraine for sure. Help for Canadians abroad, again, no issues with that, obviously. Support for Canada's presence abroad, $1.23 billion. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. Well, so that was the website's called canadaspends.com. So yeah, Global Affairs of Canada, almost $20 billion in 2024, just sent out of taxpayers' money, right? Not good. Some of the humanitarian aid is good. Obviously, I have nothing against it. But honestly, my personal opinion is that we should have a referendum about it. Like, do you want to send humanitarian aid to Palestine or, let's say, Israel, right? Referendum. Because not everyone supports Israel, not everyone supports Palestine. My opinion is both parties are bad. One of them is worse, obviously, right? And yeah, I know someone started, someone's continuing. We're not talking about it right now. The same thing with Ukraine. The whole world supports Ukraine. There are countries that can afford it and the countries that cannot afford it. The conflict is going on for, 3 years now? With Ukraine not really seeking the peace in the first 2.5 years. Again, I think it should be a referendum if we want to send money or no. If most of the Canadians, 51% of people who will participate in a referendum, want to send money to Ukraine, I'm not going to say half of the word. Okay, I'm not going to say anything because it's literally taxpayers decided, not just 1-2 politicians. Okay, probably not 1-2 politicians, but still. Like, it's taxpayers' money. It should go to improve Canada, unless the taxpayers decide to help someone else, right? And I honestly don't think Canada's in the situation where we can pretend how we are rich and everything, and just spend money everywhere outside of Canada without actually investing into Canada. And that's what we're doing right now. It literally feels like, these poor people who buy expensive clothes and pretend that they're actually rich. That kind of feels like Canada right now. Like at home we have nothing, but outside we look like we're good company. So again, that was Global Affairs of Canada. There's another website where you can actually find funding. This is official governmental website. It's a little bit harder to find like annually what amounts we're spending. For example, here, Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Institutional support 2023 to 2025. So it's still operational, right, until the end of the year. The budget was 1 trillion. Sorry, is it 1 trillion? I think so, 1 billion. Sorry, 1 billion was the budget. If you click on it, it's actually gonna show you where the support is going. South of Sahara, South America, Middle East, Asia. And it's like, do you see anything about Canada? Like, how does it help Canada? And how long has it been going? Like, this specific program goes from 2023. But we know, like HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, like this support is going for years, at least for 20 years. You can see how much we sent this year, $403 million. And like, the cause, it's a noble cause. Like, it wouldn't be one of the first one I would cut, right? Maybe not even the one that we would need a referendum to, but it's still $400 million. And in 2 years, it's pretty much $1.2 billion. Like, it's ridiculous amount. And we have more of these. We have, how many pages we have? If project status operational, we have, I think, 160 pages, 166. That literally looks like USAID. And let's be honest, if we go from the most expensive, Climate Investment Fund, Accelerating Coal Transition, is that billion? Sorry, I have an issue with zeros lately. Yeah, I believe it's $1 billion. And that goes for like 20 years. But look, who are we supporting for that? India, Philippines, Indonesia, South Africa, Dominican Republic, Macedonia. Why? Like, yeah, that's the climate change thing, right? That's liberals, what they're trying to fight with carbon tax and stuff. Yeah, India, environment, air quality, really bad. And I've been there. I know it's really bad. Philippines, I was in Manila, never had an issue. Indonesia, Bali, did you hear people complaining? Not really. South Africa, well, I think over there they have more issues with racism towards white people, killing the white farmers and stuff. Dominican Republic, Macedonia, I can't really say. So that's like the two biggest spenders. Again, to be fair, the Climate Investment Fund is going for about 25 years, like 1 billion for 25 years. That being said, it doesn't mean that the budget won't get bigger. And we know with Carney and everyone, And look, here we have Canadian Climate Resilience Accelerator for Latin America and the Caribbean. So another $500 million for climate thing. Are you serious? And another thing is, like with all of this climate thing, look, if you become clean energy powerhouse, you can sell energy. Did you hear about that? Like that's pretty much what the US is doing. I'm not saying that they're clean energy powerhouse, but definitely their regulations are better than in India, Philippines, or Latin America, right? So if you invest in your own energy infrastructure, you can help economy. And by selling the energy to the countries with big climate footprint or carbon footprint, you're gonna actually help the environment, right? But no, somehow we're just gonna send money everywhere. Okay, these things still kind of made sense, right? Or make sense. It's not that outrageous. I mean, it is. Again, I think it should be a referendum. Fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Referendum on that? Probably yes, but it's a noble cause. But can we afford it as a Canada to send money to the different continent that's been dealing with this for 30 years, 20 years, and where's the result, right? I don't know. I understand why we're doing it. We're doing it for the reputation. And again, like I said, it's like a poor person wearing expensive clothes and spending money so everyone can see it. But at home, they have nothing. That's literally Canada right now. So let's talk about more specific things. I'm going to link this into the description, but let's see what happened lately. So Mark Carney obviously recognized Palestinian state, and here it comes weird. Again, we're sending millions to Palestine for humanitarian aid, and where's the referendum on that? Not everyone supports Palestine. Let me rephrase it. Not everyone supports Palestine in the current state, but I would like to believe everyone supports innocent Palestinians, right? You don't want people to get killed, and especially kids. And we heard the numbers. Like, it's ridiculous how much Israel is killing. But as long as Palestine is led by Hamas, how do we know that this humanitarian aid to Gaza and West Bank is actually not going to end up in the Hamas's hands? And that's what US and President Trump has an issue with, right? Like, I don't believe that they have anything personally against Palestinians. They have something against Hamas. I wasn't really able to find how much we're going to send. It's under 100 millions, thank God. That's what I saw, but I wasn't able to find out the specific article. Again, we're sending this money when we have issues. But it's gonna get worse, okay? Then on the Facebook I saw this. Today Secretary of State Sarai signed the She Decides statement from promise to progress, 5 years to deliver gender equality and SRHR by 2030. So their contract was done in 2025, or was supposed to be done. And these two organizations or causes, the She Decides and SRHR, I will explain what SRHR is in a minute. But these two causes are getting $1.4 billion annually from taxpayers' money. Let that sink in. It's crazy. And here we go. What She Decides actually is. Where did I saw it? Conventing world leaders in bodily autonomy. She Decides vision. SRHR. Okay, so let's see the vision. Overall vision: a world where every young girl, woman, and young person in all their diversity can decide what to do with their body, life, and future without question. So SRHR is sexual and reproductive health and rights. So pretty much what this company or movement, or I don't know how you want to do it, this She Decides do is, wait, is there our focus? Okay, what are you doing? Here we go. First thing, abortions. Access to safe legal abortion care is a human right. What about the human right of the kid to stay alive, not to get murdered? And there's the issue I have with it, right? So we're giving $1.4 billion to get a girl's abortions. Girls in Africa, Middle East, not in Canada. We're not talking about Canada. This all is going somewhere else. And I believe that this is the issue that you definitely need a referendum for, because not everyone believes in abortion. Canada, if I'm correct, is still, I think, 51% Christian. And you know what Christians and Catholics and everyone of that religion don't do? Abortions. And don't agree with abortions, because it's murder. Honestly, I think Islam has the same opinion, that it's murder. But yeah, like this should definitely be a referendum. Why are we sending $1.4 billion or taxpayers' dollars for abortions without referendum? Then obviously sexual education. I agree with that. Sexual education. Look, for me, pro-choice versus pro-life. Pro-choice, you had a choice to have unprotected sex. If you get pregnant, well, now it's pro-life. You don't get abortion. So that's why you need sexual education, so people actually know how to try to prevent getting pregnant, right? Young people's bodily autonomy. She Decides gives young people a seat at the table when it comes to conversations about their bodies, lives, and futures. We provide a platform for young people to share their priorities and ideas and to hold governments accountable to the commitments they have made. What about the commitment of the Canadian government to make or to serve Canadians, right? That's kind of ridiculous to read this. But yeah, this all is going to Middle East, Africa, some states in Europe and Asia. And $1.4 billion without referendum to the countries we didn't hear about, to the countries that won't really affect us. And again, I'm not going to say it's noble cause. Yes, sexual education, that's noble. Does it need $1.4 billion? And again, the She Decides gets half of the money. The other one goes to that SRHR. But I don't agree with this. And I think it should go to referendum, because now people like me are paying taxpayers' money and pretty much support this. I don't support this. I support education, but I don't support killing innocent kids, right? Because of some choice you made. So again, this is where I might get cancelled, because yeah, I'm against abortions, and honestly, if money goes to support abortions, no, I don't agree with this. Well, and now comes the biggest point, and really the worst point. And in this case, I'm gonna ask, when can we? Well, I'll ask after I explain, right? What the heck? No, thank you. I bet you've all heard this. Canada commits 60 millions to Haiti, wants UN to back US gang suppression plan. 60 millions to Haiti, to find the crime rate in Haiti, to fight the gangs in Haiti. What do we have in Canada? We have spike in home invasions. In GTA, the cops literally told people, leave everything next to the door, don't fight with the intruder, just follow everything they want. They never said we're gonna catch them, we're gonna work our hardest, nothing. They literally just said, give up. If someone gets into your house, give up, don't fight. If you fight, you might actually go to prison. And there was 1 or 2 cases where Canadian fought the intruder off, and then the Canadian was charged of harm, whatever, of the intruder, right? It's ridiculous. You protect your property and you get charged because you injured. Then I live in Alberta. I read the article yesterday that there's spike in home invasions around Alberta. Seriously? So we have these issues everywhere. And look, Alberta, people have guns. And yet there's a spike in home invasions. If we go back to Ontario, we have shooting. I just saw a video of some guy full on getting executed on the street. Like 5 shots in the back. The guy didn't do anything. He was just crossing the street. And someone ran there and killed him. So yes, we have shootings here. It's not a mass shootings, because liberals will be like, well, at least we don't have mass shootings. Who cares? People are still dying. Like, we have so many issues here that we're not addressing. We have catch and release. When conservatives were trying to push the new law for the more serious sentences for the repeated offenders, liberals disagreed with it. Do you understand that? So someone's repeated offender, and in Canada we're not really talking about like second crime or second criminal record. Like, we have people with 14 crimes and they're still running free because of this catch and release. So conservatives are like, okay, if he is a repeated offender, let's send him to the prison, give him bigger sentence or whatever. And liberals are like, no. So liberals are literally supporting the crime in Canada, and they're sending 60 millions to Haiti to fight against crime over there. And my question, ladies and gentlemen, when is it gonna be enough to charge Mark Carney of treason? Last time I checked, treason was that he's helping other country to harm his own country, if I'm correct. Well, you know what? We'll Google it over here. So what's treason? Treason meaning: the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign on or overthrow the government. Is that what Mark Carney is doing or no? Because he's sending money to some foreign government while he's supporting crime in Canada. So how much longer we have to wait until someone finally charges Carney with treason? I was saying this a while ago, and people were like, well, but he's not really committing treason because blah, 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 you need to include foreign government. Well, now we are. Now he's sending hard-earned taxpayers' money to Haiti to fight against the crime, and then in Canada, he's not fighting against the crime. Like, enough is enough. I don't know what else to tell you. It always gets me pissed off. So yeah, here you go, guys. We have billions of dollars just being sent outside of the Canada for the causes that have nothing to do with Canada and won't help Canada at all. Like, we're literally sending billions of dollars to the world just to have that reputation that Canadians are nice. Canadians are nice, but they should have a right to decide about where the money is going, especially in the situation when life in Canada is pretty hard. And I'm not comparing life in Canada to life in Africa, Middle East, or anything. Well, talking about the Middle East, why are we sending money to Middle East and not Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all of these rich countries? Why? Why are we paying for Middle East? Like, I get Africa, right? Because Africa doesn't really have one very rich country or multiple rich countries. So they need some support if we can afford it, which we can't really. But yeah, Middle East, Asia, I don't know, man. Sounds like someone's trying to run Canada down. And in those, how long has it been? 6 months? He's doing a good job at that, for sure. Anyway, if you like the video, if you want to see more, just like and subscribe. And if you have any ideas what would you want to hear about next time, again, shoot me a comment. I'll see you next time.